Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of SpongeBob Now. Today, I'm going to talk about every episode of SpongeBob SquarePants Season 3. First, I will be talking about the Algae's Always Greener, and SpongeGuardon on duty. First, I'm going to talk about the Algae's Always Greener. Enjoy! After failing to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula once again, Plankton decides that he is tired of eating holographic meatloaf. Believing Mr. Krabs to have a more satisfying existence, he longs to switch lives with him. Karen points out that he had conveniently invented a transmogrifier earlier, and suggests he use it. Plankton takes her advice and later finds himself waking up as Mr. Krabs, now wearing Mr. Krabs' outfit. Plankton looks at a nameplate reading, Mr. Plankton, and realizes that he has successfully entered a universe where he is, in fact, successful. His first act is to have alternate universe SpongeBob SquarePants, now his employee, present him with 2 Krabby Patties for bun inspection. As Mr. Plankton drools over the Krabby Patties and celebrates his newfound power and wealth, SpongeBob suddenly pops back in for his weekly performance review. Mr. Plankton tells his yellow underling that he is fine the way he is, but begs for evaluation and criticism. Plankton casually and dismissively remarks that SpongeBob used a little too much sauce, but rather than placating him, this critique sends SpongeBob spiraling into a bizarrely manifested despair even though he wanted to be criticized. Mr. Plankton resorts to promoting SpongeBob to co-cashier, much to the disdain of Mr. Plankton's other new employee, alternate universe Squidward Tentacles. Squidward enters Plankton's office to complain and ends up as SpongeBob's fry cooking replacement. Before Mr. Plankton can get back to his Krabby Patties, his new daughter, Pearl Plankton, arrives, asking for an advance on her allowance. He gives her $1, which she finds unacceptably paltry. As she sobs, a customer, Incidental 41, comes to complain about Squidward's horrific attempt at cooking while SpongeBob dissolves over a slightly mistaken order. Mr. Plankton begs for all the complaining to stop, which does in the face of a siren going off. The siren, as SpongeBob and the others explain, is a warning for an imminent threat to the Krabby Patty formula, a threat that turns out to be alternate universe Eugene Krabs. Having life circumstances closer to those Plankton used to have at the beginning of the episode, he is now simply known as Krabs, out to steal the formula, and, much like Plankton used to be, completely naked. SpongeBob fights Krabs off with a clothes-shooting cannon and finally manages to clap him in an underwired bra. Krabs relinquishes his stolen patty to a baffled Mr. Plankton as everyone at the Krusty Krab gives a shrill, victory screech. Krabs vows to Mr. Plankton that one day he will manage to steal a Krabby Patty repeatedly, even if he has to raid the place daily. Plankton finally finds his nemesis life intolerable. He then screams and disrobes before hitting a button, and everything goes back to normal. Plankton is transported directly in front of his holographic meatloaf back at the chum bucket within his home universe. He has a newfound appetite for the meatloaf and scoops it up, eating eagerly, ending the episode. Next, I'm going to talk about SpongeGuardon on duty. Enjoy! One day at Goo Lagoon, SpongeBob and Patrick are sunbathing. SpongeBob notices the adoration that the lifeguard, Larry the Lobster, receives, and fantasizes about how cool it would be if he was a lifeguard himself, but Patrick has no fondness for lifeguards. After being told to conceal his large gut by another beachgoer, Patrick stomps off to the snack bar. SpongeBob declares that he is already as cool as Larry and that nothing but an airborne ice cream truck striking him down could prove otherwise. One such collision later, Larry helps SpongeBob up and sees that vanilla ice cream has been smeared on his nose. Thinking that it is sunscreen and that therefore he is a lifeguard, Larry enlists the all-too-eager SpongeBob in helping him with his duties. As a lifeguard, SpongeBob becomes very popular and does many fun activities and is happy to accept taking the second shift solo. However, Larry hears a swimmer drowning and saves him, prompting SpongeBob to realize too late that the role of a lifeguard is actually serious business of protecting people from mortal danger. His shift now over, Larry heads off for the tanning booth with some girls, leaving SpongeBob, who cannot swim, in charge of the beach. SpongeBob thinks nothing won't happen until imagining the sea of swimmers in the lagoon as a sea of tombstones instead. In a panic, he alerts all the fish to an emergency and orders to get them out of the lagoon. When asked what is happening, he claims that sharks have infested the lagoon, a comment that does not sit well with a family of sapient sharks in the crowd. He then raves about a sea monster and is then confronted by an actual sea monster who scolds SpongeBob for stereotyping him. The frustrated crowd then disperses and heads back to the lagoon, much to SpongeBob's dismay after saying somebody went. Stressed out from watching the beachgoers engaging in risky activities, SpongeBob resorts to luring everyone out of the lagoon with free ice cream. Once everyone has some to eat, SpongeBob points out that they must now wait 1 hour to re-enter the lagoon, then binds them with police tape to enforce this rule. Patrick, who has been in the restroom, runs out in search of ice cream when SpongeBob gloats about how his trick makes him superior to Larry. Misreading the police tape as a sign for ice cream, he breaks through it to go into the lagoon, where he gets butt cramps and starts drowning in the ankle-deep water. The crowd tries to alert SpongeBob to this real emergency, but he initially refuses to believe them. However, he eventually sees Patrick and springs into action, desperate to find a way to save him without having to swim. First, he tries tossing a lifesaver, which does not go very far to reach. Then he grabs a straw to simply just drink all the water in the lagoon so won't drown, but accidentally drinks up Patrick too, in which the starfish gets trapped inside SpongeBob, who has to spit him in the lagoon back out. He then confiscates a boatmobile from a couple in the parking lot, though he returns their hot dog. SpongeBob rows the boat out to the lagoon in a rescue attempt, but the frantic Patrick tears it apart in a panic while flailing his arms. Upon realizing his actions, he and SpongeBob both start drowning, with Patrick actively harming SpongeBob up to stay afloat. The beachgoers leave the charlatan lifeguard and his friend to their fate. As they say their goodbyes, Larry arrives to unenthusiastically pull them up from the ankle-deep water. Realizing that SpongeBob does not know how to swim, and hearing SpongeBob admit that he isn't a lifeguard, Larry sets him and Patrick to work practicing their swimming in a kiddie pool and they get butt cramps, which ends the episode with Patrick still lamenting his lack of ice cream. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Goodbye everyone.